Alright guys, we're gonna go over everything that's happened this year as the year winds down to an end and all the builds we have completed. And we're starting off with my buddy Dave and the exact replica I made of his car, his 1968 Chevy Corvair. This is the AMT kit, which actually is a pretty decent kit when you take into account how old this kit is. And it actually doesn't go to them too badly. There are quite a few fitment issues, but once you resolve those, it makes a really good display model. This car gave me no end of trouble as far as painting, as it had been repainted 3 times due to the fact that I just couldn't get the color right until I got the last bit of color from the MCW paints. They had the exact color that matched Dave's car perfectly. Then came replicating his interior, getting everything to match his car exactly the way he had it. It was a really fun build, and I hope Dave is loving that car because I really miss not having it, but I had to give it to him. You can catch the video on the channel when I presented to Dave, and it was a great fun build. The second build of 2022 was a continuation of my last build of 2021, which was a Gundam RX-78, but this time I decided that I'm going all chrome on this one, and I went ahead and had my first attempt at chroming a model kit. This was my first time using the all-clad paints, and I found that I loved them. It's a really easy paint to use, and the chrome effect that you got from it was fantastic. I really enjoyed this entire exercise in learning how to chrome. As you saw in the first photo, all I did was take all of the original Gundam colors and transfer them to chrome-like colors. The reds, the yellows, and the blues are done by using Tamiya clear paints over the all-clad chrome, which really gave you that nice candy metallized effect on the colored parts of the armor. My third build for 2022 was part of the small scale group build hosted by BG's Model Workshop and Sean at the Scale Model Car Guide channel. 2 great channels, and you guys really should check them out. I'll put links in the description below. And this was a very interesting experience because I thought that, hey, if I could chrome a Gundam, let me try chroming a car. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, famous last words. I said to myself, dude, you know exactly what you're doing. You're a master at this. You don't need to read instructions. Let's just throw some chrome on this car, put some clear on it, and knock it out of the park. Well, guess what? Hey, maybe I should have read the instructions. Well, guess what? I should have read the instructions. Apparently, you have to use a specific clear when using the all-clad chrome, otherwise it turns into a gunmetal-y looking mess. Yeah, I should have read the instructions. So this is what I was left with after using the wrong clear on the all-clad. You can see how dark it is, and it's not totally even over the entire body. So not really what I was looking for. Now I only had 30 days to get this done, so I decided let me put that to the side and jump on the rest of the build and see what I can do with it and figure out how to salvage this thing. So then I jumped right into the interior, and anybody who knows me knows that I love the interior work. I decided to do this entire Corvette in kind of like a show car style. We have the red interior components along with the black carpeting that I used the embossing powder on. And then I went and did the steering wheel in a red wood, which I thought looked really cool. Now if you look really careful, you can see that the glove box is still in the original chrome that I tried to replicate on the body. Here you can see the seat belts that I added, which are a little tough on something this small, and all the silver trim around the interior. It was a really fun little interior to build. Next came the chassis. Now, I can't say this enough, this is an extremely simple kit. The chassis is only one part. There are no separate components to add to it, and it all comes down to the paintwork on that. Needless to say, there was quite a bit of masking that went on for me to get the chassis to come out the way I wanted to see it. Now that I have the chassis and the interior done, it's time to turn my attention back to that body and fix what I screwed up. At this point, I'm running out of time on the build. Don't have enough time to strip the entire body down, so what I did was I sanded it all down, threw another coat of black on it, and then just started laying the all clad on it again. and I really had to go heavy on it in order to try and cover up the mess that I had before. And what I got instead of the chrome vet was more of a polished aluminum look, which I think I kind of like more than the chrome. The next build, I decided I'm going to go something that's not quite so shiny and polished, and stay away from the chrome for a little bit. This is a really nice kit from Polar Lights. The detailing is spot on. The fitment of the parts, for the most part, is really nicely done. It's almost a Tamiya level quality. Not quite, but almost. The toughest part about this kit was laying all the decals. It is covered on every inch of the ship with decals that add a lot of detail to it. It really enhances the model. Best advice for working on this kit is keep a lot of decal solvent handy because you're gonna need it. I've used quite a bit on this thing, and let me tell you, the results, they're worth it. The decals really set up nice, they sit and conform to the body nice with the solvent, and it just ends up a really good display piece. I'm really happy with it. Okay, build number 5 is a very special build. This was made in honor of the people of the Ukraine and everything that they're going through now. And I decided I'm gonna do something just a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to and go out of my comfort zone for this one. I decided to try and find a kit from the Ukraine. I wasn't really aware of any of the model manufacturers from that part of the world, but I ran across ICM. A lot of you out there may know them. They are an amazing model company. They deal primarily with military and pre-war stuff, and it's incredible. I saw this kit and I realized how much I have shortchanged myself over the years by never delving into them before. This is the engine of the Cabriolet. It really is an incredibly well-made piece. It's good enough to be on display on its own outside of the car. I added a bunch of details such as the wiring, did all the detail painting, and once it's in the car with all the extra added details, just looks amazing. The chassis and suspension are another area where this kit excels. The detailing is amazing. Here we have the rear axle. As you can see, all the detail in it, all the bolts and everything are there, and the way it mounts into the rear of the car, it really is an exquisite piece. Now, this kit had a front suspension unlike anything I've ever seen before, which required quite a bit of research in order to build it and have it look accurate. It was interesting. And the exhaust, with all the weathering and the heat staining that I love to do, just came out looking really nice. The chassis itself is a multi-part assembly, and once it's all put together and the suspension, the engine, and everything is installed, it just looks fantastic. With all the detail painting, such as on the drive shaft, it just really looks good once it's in the car. The interior of the kit is also amazing. It's a multi-piece interior that includes some of the body components that come together to form the interior tub, and once you put all the seats and all the other details in, it just looks incredible. The dashboard, even though simple in design, is accurate to the real car from what I've seen. And now the interior, I've added a few details of my own, such as the straps on behind the seats, and when it all comes together, it just looks incredible. One thing you have to be careful of is that the parts for the interior, some of them are tiny. So you have to be sure that you don't lose them all, because one flick of the wrist and you'll be searching for parts for days. Now, the body itself was also another huge exercise. It's at least, I think, 8 parts was the complete total of the body pieces. And that adorning with all the body jewelry just came out looking amazing. Build number 6 for 2022 was a buddy build with Mike from Scale Speedworks. He's another guy with a really cool channel. You guys should definitely check him out. I will put a link in the description. This was our light side versus dark side build, where he was the light side and built an X-Wing fighter, and I was, of course, the dark side and built my TIE Advanced and TIE Fighter set from Bandai. If you haven't built one of these tiny Bandai model sets, you will be shocked at how much detail they managed to squeeze into these tiny little models. These things fit in the palm of your hand and yet are packed with super sharp and crisp details. It's a miracle that they were able to get this type of high quality into these tiny little things. The only downside to this particular kit is that Bandai should have included 2 TIE fighters, as it includes a stand to replicate the trench run, but you only have 1 TIE fighter to do it with. Now we're at build number 7 for 2022. I had so much fun with that small scale Bandai TIE fighter set that I decided to jump on the small scale Bandai Razor Crest from The Mandalorian. And I thought this was going to be fun because it gave me a chance to play with metal paints again, as this is a ship that appears to be some sort of a chrome aluminum type of finish. So I really wanted to try that again after the debacle with the chrome vet. This time I decided to try a different color from Allclad. Instead of going with their chrome, I went with their airframe aluminum. And I've got to tell you, I think it's a better finish than with their chrome, as it really covers well and it really has a metallic look to it that, to me, just seems to work perfectly for this build. I then used a little bit of the Allclad burnt carbon to add some of the burned metal effects on the engines, and then I topped that all off with Tamiya weathering powders just to give different tones and hues to the metal on the body. This is another amazing Bandai small scale kit with more detail than I've seen in kits 3 times its size. Well, that's it for 2022. Didn't get as many builds done as I had hoped, but I did have a lot of fun finishing off what I did, and I'm looking forward to 2023. So from us here at Onyx Fierro and Scale Model Works, Happy New Year, happy holidays, enjoy it, and we'll see you next year.